Flowers, Le Volume sur Automne, or The Book of Autumn, tells an emotionally charged tale of romance and change. Whereas The Leaves turn colors in the isolated St. Angrecum Academy, full of adolescent youths, our main character will have to overcome these incidents of complex mysteries and intricate emotions to find the truth. For our theatrical, extraordinary student council president hides a vulnerable girl inside, desperate to save her dishonest, insincere heart. In this intimate Yuri character drama series, Innocent Grey has surpassed expectations once again. Hi, my name is August, and let's take a look at Flowers, the Book of Autumn. Taking place after the events of the Book of Spring and the Book of Summer as the third installment of the series, we switch our main character to the outgoing and eccentric student council president, Yuzuriha Yasushiro. But for how much she is well trusted and beloved by all students, she holds a deep secret buried within herself. For us looking in, it's no surprise what Yuzuriha's secret is. We just don't know how long she's been harboring these emotions that would have torn her apart if she wasn't as strong as she desperately tries to be. Often featured as a side character in previous installments, Yuzuriha was always a supporting upperclassman who often gave advice to the underclassmen cast. Offering flirty jokes and a genial smile, she's a fun, charismatic senpai. However, we never really got to know her as a person and her own struggles, and we're not alone in that, for no one actually understands her, because the person we know as Yuzuriha Yasushiro, everyone takes for granted. The Flower series has always had this modest subtleness to its setting. Our characters live in this gentle, pristine environment, living their everyday lives like any other adolescent young girl. It's very grounded, being set in their mundane slice of life. And every once in a while, there'll be a school event or a sudden love confession, creating a notable point in these Catholic girls' youth. But sometimes it's the small, inconspicuous moments that end up being the most telling about a person. And where the Book of Autumn really shines is in its very careful nuances of these characters' feelings. In front of others, Yuzuriha is this very charismatic and joking older senpai, and yet when no one's looking, she's actually a very introspective and emotionally insecure girl. The brief lapses of Yuzuriha being off in her own world, the soft muttering of her voicing her troubles, the motivating comments towards herself, desperately trying to reassure herself that everything's going to be alright. All of these are subtle expressions that, while missed by her peers, are highlighted to us. Pair that with her inner narration, and you have a compelling female protagonist as she attempts to figure out her contradicting desires in her relationships, in an environment that doesn't allow those feelings to be openly acknowledged, socially or societally. It can be hard to express oneself normally, even more so when trying to describe the turbulent emotions residing in a person. So it's absolutely remarkable how Flowers' poetic prose and literary references are able to convey these feelings. It wouldn't be Flowers if there weren't a lot of literary and pop culture references sprinkled all over. Most are commonly used as one-off remarks or conversation pieces, but there's one particular work that serves as a major framework for this installment: The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Throughout the story, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz becomes this multifaceted allegory for Yuzuriha, the Tin Man without a heart, the cowardly lion searching for courage, the Wizard of Oz with many appearances. These references to the story's characters represent Yuzuriha's perceptions of herself and others. While it's not necessary to understand the actual story, how the tale is incorporated into her narration adds this heightened sense of drama and imaginative form of expression. And it's not just the literary references, the poetic style of the prose, the dramatic rate of revelations from the text, and the presentation itself all elevate the emotional draw of the visual novel to even greater heights. As someone who deeply enjoys melodramatic works, there isn't anything more satisfying than reading a monologue that feels like a religious confession of the soul, pouring out self-hating lines of angst. The desperate plea from her sickbed, her mother's voice had scratched at my insides like something clawing its way out of a deep well. There is no salvation. Clenching my fist, I repeat in a small voice, as if though trying to convince myself, there is no salvation. Thankfully, her classmates can clearly tell that something's wrong with this hopeless girl sighing up a storm, so our wonderfully supportive cast decides to kick some sense into her. As much as I like to say that they're very perceptive, in retrospect you can obviously tell so by the sheer amount of depressing vibes emanating from the poor girl. Everyone takes notice of this and reaches out to Yuzuriha in their own way to help. What's nice is that the interactions we see here in the Book of Autumn are the results of the character developments of the girls in the previous titles. Erika, while still being a mischievous eccentric, is openly supportive and is a great soundboard to Yuzuriha. Chidori, a previously indifferent outcast, is now a lot more friendly and isn't afraid to show off her loving relationship to the disdain of her easily flustered wife. And Suo, our beautiful literary fairy ex-master detective, serves as a great role model, being unironically perfect in every single way possible. There's something beautiful in how everyone comes together to help Yuzuriha, even going so far as to lie in good faith to try to protect each other, because they love each other that much. Knowing Yuzuriha's personality, she's grateful for their support, but is also also hesitant to reveal her vulnerable side. This is represented in the choices you are presented in the story. Selecting the green choices will lead you to the true ending, while choosing otherwise will result in an alternate ending. The mystery questions also return for you to solve, in which getting the incorrect answers will result in a bad ending. It's worth passing through the visual novel again, not only because all the endings must be unlocked to get the epilogue scene that leads into the final installment, but also because more character-specific scenes and endings are available the second time through. Flowers, the Book of Autumn tells a gripping story about an adolescent girl trapped by the high expectations of the people around her, tormented by the conflicted feelings of changing relationships, and placed in a world that fundamentally rejects her true nature. This girl, who claims to not have a heart, is troubled the most. Through Flowers' consistently elegant and beautiful visual and audio presentation, Innocent Grey conveys not only Yuzuriha's inner feelings, but also of those she intimately interacts with as well. Watching these girls toil over their emotions can be deeply resonant, as you can empathize with what they are going through. I was feeling genuinely happy for Yuzuriha as she finally learns to be honest with herself, to where I even started to tear up after listening to the opening song again after completing the visual novel, because she's finally found happiness. I came out of the Book of Summer wondering how Innocent Grey is going to top that, and they've managed to surpass my expectations with how phenomenal and gripping this story is. And it makes me even more excited for the final climactic installment of this intimate Yuri character drama. Flowers, Le Volume sur Automne gets a 5 out of 5 with a seal of approval from me. If you are interested, I have review videos of the prior volumes in the series if you want to go check those out. And as always, follow me on Twitter for more of my thoughts on visual novels, and I'll see you later next time.